Coco, congratulations. Taylor put up a great fight, but Team USA really needed you tonight to win this match. What do you think helped deliver this win tonight?
Yeah, my crowd support on the bench was really amazing. There's a lot of Polish fans in the crowd, so I relied on my bench to cheer, but shout out to all the people who are cheering for me. I hear you.
Coco Gauff just beat EAC for the 4th time in a row, all in straight sets. Nobody in tennis history has ever done that before. And while the tennis world was busy processing that statistical miracle, Gauff quietly became the world #1 in doubles, too. Aryna Sabalenka, who's been dominating singles, apparently didn't take the news well. The meltdown that followed was peak Sabalenka energy.
Wow.
Set a match, Team United States, this is to love, 6-4, 6-2.
And Gauff keeps American hopes alive.
Is Gauff about to own 2026 in both singles and doubles, or is this just a hot streak that will cool off by the French Open? Let's start with the obvious. Coco Gauff beat EGA Swedex 64-6-2 in the United Cup semifinals. That's her 4th consecutive victory over the former world #1. All in straight sets. The first player ever to do that to Swiatek, not Sabalenka, not Rybaka, not anyone from the Big Three era when they were still playing. Just Gauff at 21 years old. And somehow people are still debating whether she's the real deal.
Wow.
The head-to-head between Gauff and Suede used to be embarrassing. Won 11 of their first 12 matches. She dominated Gauff in Grand Slam finals, demolished her at the WTA finals, made her look like she didn't belong on the same court. Then something shifted. Over the last year and a half, Gauff has won 5 of their last 6 meetings. The gap closed from 11:1 to 11:5. That's not a fluke. That's a pattern. That's Gauff figuring out how to beat someone who used to own her.
And you and Iga have obviously played many times before. It felt like you really trusted your game tonight, particularly closing that out there in the end. Is that how it felt for you?
Yeah, I didn't let the opportunities that I had in the first 2 times I had match points get away from me. She played well. Maybe there was one error, the backhand, but after that she played the better tennis. And but I knew that how I was playing the whole match, I would get it done.
The match on Saturday in Sydney started rough for Gauff. She faced triple breakpoint in the very first game. Had to save a 4th breakpoint at add-out just to hold serve. That's the kind of start that can derail an entire match. Most players would have crumbled right there, especially against Swiatek, who's known for suffocating opponents once she gets momentum. But Gauff didn't crumble. She held, settled in, and suddenly she was up 4-1. Then Swiatek fought back to 4-4. Classic switch resilience. And that's when Gauff did something nobody expected. She won 7 straight games. 7, not 5, not 6. 7. Built a 6,450-0 lead and put the match completely out of reach. Sweet managed to hold and break back once to make it 5-2, but it was too late. Gauff broke her right back and closed it out. After the match, Gauff said she didn't let the opportunities slip away this time. She acknowledged that Swiatek played well at the end, maybe hit one error on the backhand, but other than that, played better tennis in those final games. But Gauff knew how she was playing the whole match and trusted she'd get it done. That's confidence. That's someone who's been in that position before and knows how to finish. Now, here's where it gets interesting. While everyone was focused on Gauff, dismantling singles, something else happened. Coco Gauff became the world #1 in doubles. Not singles, doubles. The discipline that most people forget exists until a Grand Slam mixed doubles final randomly shows up on their feed. But for Gauff, doubles isn't just a side project. She's legitimately elite at it. And now she's ranked 1st in the world. Aryna Sabalenka, who's been the most dominant force in women's tennis over the past 2 years, reportedly did not take this news well. According to multiple sources, there was a tantrum. Not just frustration, not just disappointment, a full-blown tantrum. Because while Sabalenka has been collecting Grand Slam singles titles and cementing her legacy as one of the best players of this generation, Gauff has been quietly building a resume that's starting to rival anyone's. And that doesn't sit well with someone who's used to being the main character. Let's be clear about something. Sabalenka is an incredible player. She's won multiple majors. She's been ranked number 1. She's one of the most powerful and consistent players on tour, but she's also someone who doesn't hide her emotions. When things don't go her way, everyone knows about it. And apparently, watching Gauff add world number 1 in doubles to her growing list of accomplishments was enough to trigger a reaction. The irony here is that Sabalenka has never prioritized doubles the way Gauff has. She plays it occasionally, usually with a rotating cast of partners, but it's never been a focus. Gauff, on the other hand, has been intentional about doubles. She's formed consistent partnerships, put in the work, and now she's reaping the rewards. So, for Sabalenka to be upset about Gauff reaching number 1 in doubles feels a bit like being mad at someone for winning a race you weren't even running. But that's not really what this is about. It's not about doubles rankings. It's about Gauff becoming impossible to ignore. For years, the narrative around Gauff was that she was talented but inconsistent. That she had big wins but couldn't sustain them. That she'd eventually fade once the hype died down. And for a while, that narrative seemed accurate. She'd beat top players and then lose early in the next tournament. She'd reach finals and struggle to close them out. But that version of Gauff doesn't exist anymore. The player who just beat Swiatek 4 times in a row in straight sets is not inconsistent. The player who became world number 1 in doubles is not just hype. She's the real thing. Sabalenka has to be feeling the pressure. She's still the better singles player right now. Her results over the past 2 years prove that. But Gauff is closing the gap fast. And Gauff is doing it while also dominating in doubles, which makes her accomplishments feel even more impressive. It's one thing to focus entirely on singles and reach the top. It's another thing to compete at the highest level in both disciplines simultaneously. Gauff is doing the latter, and it's making everyone else's achievements look slightly less impressive by comparison. The United Cup semi-finals win over is significant for multiple reasons. First, it's the 4th straight win, which is a psychological edge that can't be overstated. Used to own this matchup. Now Gauff owns it. That shift doesn't just affect their head-to-head. It affects how other players view both of them. Sweet isn't invincible anymore. Gauff isn't the underdog. Those narratives have flipped, and they're not flipping back anytime soon. Second, the way Gauff won matters. She didn't scrape by. She didn't win ugly. She won convincingly. She handled pressure in the first game, adjusted after Swiatek fought back to 4-all, and then dominated the rest of the match. That's the kind of performance that sends a message. It says, I'm not lucky. I'm better. And that message resonates across the entire tour. Third, this happened at the start of the season. This isn't October. This isn't some random tournament nobody cares about. This is January. This is the United Cup, a premier team event with massive attention. Gauff just set the tone for 2026 by taking down the player who's supposed to be her biggest rival. That's a statement. That's momentum. And that's exactly the kind of thing that can carry into the Australian Open and beyond. Now, let's talk about the mixed doubles component of this story. After Gauff beat Swiatek, the United Cup semi-final between Team USA and Poland came down to mixed doubles. Gauff came back on court with Christian Harrison to face Jens Zielinski and Katarina. That means Gauff played singles and mixed doubles in the same session. And she won both. That's not just skill. That's conditioning. That's mental toughness. That's being able to reset after a huge singles win and immediately shift into team mode for a completely different match. The fact that Gauff is now world conversation. And she's not just participating. She's dominating. 4 straight wins over, multiple wins over Sabalenka, Grand Slam titles, WTA Finals victories, and now world number 1 in doubles. She's not the third wheel in someone else's rivalry. She's redefining what the rivalry even is. The timing of Gauff's rise is also significant. Women's tennis is more competitive than it's been in years. There's no single dominant player. Sabalenka, Swiatek, Gauff, Rybakina, and several others all have legitimate claims to being the best on any given day. That parity makes it harder to stand out. But Gauff is standing out anyway. She's doing it by winning big matches, by staying healthy, and by competing in doubles when everyone else is resting. That work ethic is paying off in ways that are starting to frustrate her competitors. Sabalenka's reaction also highlights how much pressure she's under. She's supposed to be the dominant force right now. She's won the most majors in the past 2 years. She's been the most consistent, but Gauff is younger, more marketable, and just as talented. And now she's adding accomplishments that Sabalenka can't match. That has to sting because no matter how many singles titles Sabalenka wins, she'll never be able to say she was world number 1 in both singles and doubles. Gauff can. The other element here is the mental game. Gauff has figured out how to beat Swiatek. She's cracked the code. She knows what works and what doesn't. And that knowledge is transferable. If she can consistently beat the player who used to dominate her, she can beat anyone. That confidence is dangerous. It's the same confidence Djokovic had when he figured out how to beat Federer and Nadal. Once you know you can win, you usually do. Swiatek, for her part, has to be wondering what changed. She used to own this matchup. Now she's on a 4-match losing streak against Gauff, all in straight sets. That's not a small adjustment. That's a fundamental shift in how they match up. And unless we figures out a new strategy, this pattern is going to continue, which means Gauff will keep racking up wins, keep building confidence, and keep making life miserable for everyone else on tour. The United Cup final is going to be fascinating. If Gauff can maintain this level and help Team USA win, she'll have momentum heading into the Australian Open that will be almost impossible to stop. She'll have beaten Swiatek, won in doubles, and proven that she can perform under pressure in a team format. That's the kind of start to a season that turns good players into great ones. Sabalenka, meanwhile, has to be watching all of this and wondering how to respond. She can't control what Gauff does. She can only control her own performance. But knowing that Gauff is out there collecting accomplishments and building a narrative that might eventually overshadow Sabalenka's own career has to be motivating or infuriating, probably both. The reality is that women's tennis is better when multiple players are competing at the highest level. Gauff's rise doesn't diminish Sabalenka's accomplishments. It just means there's more competition, more drama, more compelling matchups. And for fans, that's a good thing. For Sabalenka, who's used to being the main story, it's an adjustment. One that apparently came with a tantrum when she saw the doubles rankings update. Gauff becoming world number 1 in doubles while also being elite in singles is a flex. It's a reminder that she's not just a great player, she's a complete player. She's not relying on one discipline to carry her legacy. She's building something bigger. And that's what has everyone, including Sabalenka, paying attention. Because this isn't a story about one good week. This is a story about a player who's figured out how to win consistently in multiple formats against the best opponents in the world. And once that happens, stopping it becomes almost impossible. Coco Gauff just beat Egate for the 4th straight time, all in straight sets, and became world number 1 in doubles while she was at it. Aryna Sabalenka's reaction said